All right, guys, so we are all done for today. So what I'm going to do is I am going to open up the floor for Q&A. So today is the second day of the workshop, the Wealthy Trustee Workshop. And today we went over the private family trust. So we went over a lot of information, okay, about how to actually set up our trust and all of the different sections, articles, provisions. So what I want to do is I want to open up the floor for Q&A. So please go ahead and raise your hand so that we can get into these questions and answers. So the first person I have here is Annalisa. Hey, Annalisa, how are you?
Hi, Christina. I'm doing well. How
Hi,
you
hi,
doing?
Queen. Good.
Thank you.
I love your voice. My goodness.
Thank you.
I'm gonna just call you after this. Like,
Okay. I had a question about obtaining and acquiring more properties or assets after we solidify and get the trust notarized and how that will be dispersed to the beneficiaries. So let's say I go to Dubai and acquire property in Dubai and different assets, right? So, how would that then be distributed to my beneficiaries if I can't necessarily document the properties that I've acquired after?
oh, okay. So you can, right? So you just have to make an amendment to add any additional assets or also an amendment to remove any assets, right? So if today you have two properties and then, in 5 years you've acquired five more, then throughout those 5 years, you're going to do an amendment to add every single property once you have closed on those properties and put them into the trust. So once
Um,
they are officially deeded over into the trust or you purchase them in the name of the trust, then you are going to amend. So you can do as many amendments as you want. So the first thing that you want to do is want to have a board meeting to discuss that you're actually acquiring these properties, right? That board meeting, which I'll show you guys on Thursday, is a resolution. So you are just resolving the procedure that you're about to take, which is the trust is going to go ahead and purchase a property, in North Carolina, and whatever process, this is the address of it and the closing date and things of that nature. You're going to print it, sign it, add it to your trust documents, right? So that's a part of your records. And then from there, you do an amendment to the Schedule B to now add on the actual property that you closed on or you acquired.
okay, that makes sense. And then my board members, they're not anywhere in these documents, correct? The board members that I deem as my general manager or secretary treasurer, we don't name them in the trust.
No, you name them in the very last page, which is the administrative contact information. Hold on, let me show you.
So it's just the successor trustee, co-trustee, and
Yeah, so
protector.
right. So what you want to do is you don't see it here, but you're just going to create it, right? So you're going to put
Oh,
secretary, right?
gotcha.
And then
Okay.
whoever your executive secretary is, go ahead and put their name, address, and phone number, right? Whoever your treasurer is, right? Treasurer, if I could spell it, that's definitely wrong. Name, address, and phone number.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
All right. So if that has to change, that's also an amendment here.
Oh yeah, so if you do need to, right, if you're going to change the officers, you're always going to do a board meeting and then you're going to so no, the administration contact information is just an update, right?
Mhm.
When we're talking about amendments, we're only talking about like the articles, the provisions, things like that that are actually inside of the actual trust. So we're talking about like the bylaws, the declaration, and then like the schedule A, B, C, and D.
Okay. Okay. So those are amendments, but if I just need to change names of who's on the board as a board member, that's just a meeting that needs to be had.
Yeah,
Nothing needs to
yeah,
be
yeah.
signed.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next we have Kija. Did I say your name right?
Yeah.
Kieja.
Yes.
I love
Hey
it.
Christina, how are you? Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. How old are you?
24.
Okay, because your voice sounds like you're like 15.
I get it all the time. You'll be surprised how many.
I know you get it all the time. I just had to plug that in there. All right. So what's up, girl?
Yes, I had a question about you mentioned that for setting the beneficiary with the trust certificate units, you set up a trust for your beneficiaries to make it the beneficiary of the family trust. My question was, the trust that you set up, is it a business trust or is it another family trust?
I mean, it depends. It depends on you, but ideally, if it's just, for your child and it has nothing to do with business, then you can do the family trust. You can set up another family trust specifically for your child. But if they're doing business, like a lot of our children do business, right? We're entrepreneurs and we're setting up our kids, and they're also entrepreneurs as well. So then you want to set up a business trust for them, and you can have their business trust be the beneficiary. So it just depends on you, but initially I would just tell you to set up a family trust for them. And then later on in the future, they might eventually have multiple trusts too. So you have to think about this thing as like, like a spider web, right? There's going to be so many different moving pieces to it. And there's going to be so many different, multiple trusts, right? So
Mhm.
like a lot of families that have been doing this for years, they have 200, 300 trusts within their structure, right? I mean,
Right.
so we need to think that far, ahead into the future, but initially you'll just set them up with a family trust.
Oh,
Um,
sounds
unless
good.
they're unless they're entrepreneurs and they're doing business. So like my kids, I'm already like working them, okay? They
Hmm.
are they're on video.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kieja. All right, next we have Sonia. Hi, Sonia.
Good afternoon. So, two
Hi.
questions. Oh, it's two Sonias, I think.
Yeah, there is two Sonias. The other one, I think she has a J. Where is
Okay.
she?
Was it
Yeah.
me or her?
No, it's you. It's you. The other
Okay.
Sonia. Yeah, Sonia with a J, but she doesn't have her hand up.
Okay. So, first question is, can we use the same address as the business trust, or should we have three separate? Because I think somebody else asked the same question. Should it be
Oh,
three
yeah.
separate addresses?
Oh, that's a really good question. So the way that you want to, okay, so the first part of this question is one, you can use the same address for all three. Okay, so that's the first part, right? Just as long as it's not an address that you're associated with. The second part of this question is if you are going to start building business credit for your business trust, that entity has to have a separate address from your private trust. So you have to look at it separately, right? So you have one entity, which is the business trust, where that one is going to be reflecting on the public. It's going to have a public record. And so you want that to have a separate address from the other trusts that are in the private that you don't want them to mix and mingle. So you want to use two separate addresses if that's your strategy.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. And then do we put the business address, businesses into schedule B and D for the family?
Yeah.
Trust?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. So yeah, you're gonna list the companies. And then so you could put the name, you could put the EIN of the companies. And then on the Schedule D, you will list the companies and then who the beneficiary is. So you want to put it into the business trust, and then if the beneficiary of the business trust is the family trust, then you'll have the family trust be listed as the beneficiary in the event that the business trust is dissolved. those companies are now going to be owned by the family trust.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome, Queen. Thank you. Hazy, how are you?
Good. How's it going today?
Wonderful, splendid.
Okay. So, all right. So the successor, because have three grown children and I have two grandkids. So my grandkids would be the beneficiaries, right? And then my children, but I can make one of my children the successor trustee, right?
Correct. Yep. You can make one of your children the successor. That's not a problem. So they can take over after you. And then what? Your other two children, are they going to be acting trustees with you?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good strategy. And then your grandchildren are going to be the beneficiaries.
Yes.
Yeah,
So that
that's yeah.
do I
That,
have to get a protector?
do you have to what?
Still get the a trust protector?
It's optional if you want a trust protector. So the way that you are structuring your trust right now, it doesn't sound like you need a trust protector. Um, because the trust protector is going to protect your grandchildren from your trustees. The trustees are their parents. So you might not need one right now. But in the near future, when their parents are probably no longer the trustees and someone else is acting as the trustee, then maybe you might need a protector. And you never know, too, people change. Like when you start accumulating a massive amount of wealth and stuff like that, people, they just turn into, you know, different people. So that's why it's always good to have these built-in safety mechanisms, because we're trying to foresee into the future. We're trying to foresee into, 2100.
Okay. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Z. All right. Hi, Dawn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing splendid. I'm glad that you're doing good.
So, while you were completing the certificate of trust, I noticed that you entered the EIN. Um,
Mhm.
how do we apply for the EIN prior to having the certificate of trust notarized, or can we, or do we establish the trust first, have it notarized, and then apply for EIN?
Yeah, so best practice is for you to have the trust notarized and then apply for the EIN. Sometimes that's not realistic. What we do is I'm going to show you here in this workshop how to apply for your EIN. Okay. So we are going to apply for EIN tomorrow for the ministry trust. On Thursday, we're going to apply for the EIN for the business trust. And on Friday, we're going to apply for the EIN for the family trust. So with the ministry trust, you are the authorized representative. For the business trust and the family trust, the authorized or the responsible party, according to the IRS, is the grantor. So the grantor is the one who actually has to apply for the EIN. And then you do want to fill it in to the certificate of trust and, get that notarized. Or you can do it the other way around, where you can get it notarized and then manually put it in if you want to.
Okay, so it doesn't technically affect it getting notarized. I can have it notarized before I get the EIN. And
Yeah. And then
okay,
once you get the EIN, you're gonna have to manually fill it in like with a pen.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, so it works. Thank you.
You're welcome, Don. All right, next we have T-Von. Who's T-Von?
Hey, Kristen. That's me. How are you?
Good, good, good. What does the T stand for?
Terrence.
Terrence. Okay, hey Terrence.
Hi. Okay, so I have a couple questions, and you may have touched on this, and my internet cut out, so forgive me if this is redundant. Um, but my first question is, if I remember correctly, you said the Board of Trustees at minimum, as written, can be one person, correct?
So, so no. So the Board of Trustees should be anywhere between 3 to 5 people. But your trust can be able to operate with one trustee, and that one trustee is the official trustee of the Board of Trustees. So you can
Got it.
have one
Okay.
trustee that that operates the trust.
Okay, got it. And then my second question, is there any kind of drawback to letting your family trust be the owner um, of your business? Let's say if you have an LLC or something, um, having the three trusts and being able to
You're
make
breaking up.
distributions from one to the next
You're
to kind
breaking.
of,
Can you hear me?
okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, you was breaking up pretty bad. I'm so sorry. If you could repeat yourself. I heard the first half to where you said, is there any drawback for the family trust to be the beneficiary of the business trust? And then I didn't hear anything after that.
So I'm saying, is there any drawback to the family trust being any business I may have? Not necessarily the business trust, but let's say if I have an LLC that I'm operating, is there a drawback to letting that family trust be the owner of that LLC rather than opening up a business trust? Because I would only be using it as a holding company anyway at that point.
Are you going to use a family trust as the owner? Because you have to look at it this way, right? If you're going to put all of your assets, right, or majority or 90% of your assets into the family trust, do you want that family trust to be tied into business that can then end up in litigation? No, because then you're putting your family, your livelihood, and all of your assets at risk because you decided to do business with it. So that's why you want to use a separate entity and you want to use one particular entity for business purposes. You don't want to tie in your personal assets that are inside of your family trust with anything related to business, because in the event that that business dealings go south, there's a lawsuit, everything that's inside of your family trust is up for grabs now because you decided to make that decision.
Got it. Okay, that's clear.
All
Thank you.
right. You're welcome, Terrence. Thank you for being here. All right. So next we have Namir. Is that you, Namir? You told me this yesterday. Who is this? What West Hick Bay wait, I can't even see it. Who's West Hick Bay? That
It
is you.
is me. Yes,
Oh,
it
it is.
is. It is. It is.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, welcome back.
Gratitude. You know I can't leave you for long, girl. But
I
anyway,
know.
um,
And listen, I'm not going nowhere, Namir.
hey, listen, me either. Listen, look, you know how it is. I had to I was like the prodigal son, girl. I had to step away and get my spells together and get back. But I'm back. But I want to ask a question about the TCUs. You said like when a person want to cash out, right?
Mhm.
Because so when they cash out like that, right? That takes them out of their compounded interest, right? As a beneficiary, right?
Yeah. Well,
They
no, not
out of
necessarily.
so they're
Like,
out of it all together.
no, so okay, so yes, they are totally removed from the trust. They are no longer benefiting from the trust, but the compound interest component is tied directly to the life insurance policy that's building cash value on that beneficiary's name. So you can still hold that as an asset, or because they're cashing in their TCUs, you as the trustee needs to determine if you're then going to release their cash value life insurance policy to them during that process.
So the reason I'm saying it, right? I'm the older brother, so I plan on doing this with my brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I'm bringing them kind of together. So, you know, they might get the money and this one might want to cash out, you know what I'm saying? But that we don't take them out of the policy or nothing. They just cashed out and they can't participate or they don't like what how does and
Right. Yes.
also I got
Yeah,
another
they're
question
no
about the
longer.
benefit. Go ahead.
Okay, so if they're cashing in their TCUs, they're going from like 25 TCUs to 0. So that means that they literally have no more beneficial interest inside of the trust. So
So
once
so
they
so they
take their
nothing else
money
can
and run,
accumulate
that's
for them.
it. They're done.
So nothing else can accumulate for them. They're out of it, but they're still in the policy. Like they're still part of what's going on. They just can't benefit from it. Okay, then the
Correct.
second question
100.
I got.
No, you on mute. I can't hear you anymore. I can't hear you anymore.
I had a phone call coming in. It was at my bad.
Oh no,
You
that's
hear me
tragic.
now?
That's tragic. Can you tell them to call back later?
Oh, I did. Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Okay. But so and then also, can you make your mother or your father beneficiaries?
Of course, why not? They human beings.
Okay, I was just saying
Why
because
not?
most guys, you know, it's the other way around. But you like you said, you're in the middle, so it's like I
I'm in
have
the
to bring
middle.
these. That's what I'm saying. I have to bring these people together. That's why I found out this is my duty. Is I had to be a good steward. They haven't been a good steward of these things, so you know how it is being a black sheep. You got to kind of bring things together. But I see this in a lot of families.
Of
So
course. Yes,
so I'm
that's
just so
good.
my
Oh my
mind. You just
gosh,
got my
thank God.
mind just over here. Just you got my mind just going every kind of way because at first I was saying I don't have nobody to do this with, but I'm like I do have my family, and this is how I can bring them together. You know what I mean? Like, come on, we all had to sit down and have some sense with this. So uh,
Yep.
and my mother, she been talking about this, but like you say, a lot of people talk about trust and talk about these things, but they not doing it. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
they
It's just
don't
a
do it.
yeah. So this is big time right here. I know, especially for even like my area too, like back home, like ain't nobody thinking they ain't talking about death. You know what I'm saying? They ain't talking about these things, and they had and the conversation has to be had. So I just see a new lane in my
Yeah,
life. You know what I mean?
they avoid this conversation. They avoid it
But
like
I'm
they
saying, but I'm
not
saying
gonna
in our
die. No, you
community,
gonna die.
but but in our communities, it's like that though. Is what I'm saying to you, right? People are just getting it for the death benefit, and they don't know about the life benefit. So I just, oh no, I see myself
That
traveling
is
the world
so
like you,
true.
girl. That's all I know. You are
Yeah.
very inspiring, man. And
Thank
then I
you.
have
I
it coming,
appreciate that, Amir.
and then I have it coming from a woman too, man. You know, it's different. You know, as men, we receive things different coming from a woman, whether it be our mother, be our grandmothers, our girlfriends. You know what I'm saying, or whoever the case may be. We kind of look to a woman. You know what I'm saying, because we like the power. You know what I'm saying, but y'all like the pinky, and we like the brain. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Dynamic duo, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but then and then the last one I had the question was when you said the TCUs when you say 25, so that means it's 25,000 of whatever.
So when I say so remember the TCUs, right? It's 100% of the net worth of the actual trust is equivalent to 100 TCUs. So if you want me to have 1% of beneficial interest in the trust, you're going to give me 1 TCU. So that 1
Okay.
TCU could be, equivalent to whatever that number is, whatever the cash flow is, right? Whatever the net worth is.
So like you said, if it's four of us and it's 100,000, it's 25,000 a piece.
Correct.
Okay, so the reason
1000%
I asked
correct.
that is because I believe I'm in a trust, right? But I don't. My mother is kind of like she's kind of hoarding it. So we got the the um the wheel, right? And it says something about $25,000 to everybody, but they saying that you can't touch it. But now I'm looking at when they say 25,000, we probably got 25 TCUs, right? Probably within the trust or whatever the case may be. I don't know. Just looking at the
Probably.
paperwork
Yeah.
and think,
Yeah,
and
probably.
and she's the executrix, so she is really tricking up the whole situation. So I don't know really how to go about that. So
Oh
I don't
Lord.
know.
So you know what, Namir? You know what it sounds like?
Yeah.
It sounds like a probate situation. So somebody died and your mom is the executor of that estate that was created by the state.
And they taking
And
everything
now,
from
I
her,
don't know, I
Christina.
guess you're,
And they taking everything
of
from her.
course.
And she won't humble herself from her firstborn. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's just I can't even.
Like,
I don't even.
do you think that the system was designed to benefit you? Do you think that you're going to leave this earth? You're going to have the government do all of this hard work to actually create the estate for you, put all your assets in there, and they're not going to get a piece of the pie? You must be crazy.
Well, you know, in the more science, that's what's going on. That's what we're bringing our people back to understanding, right? That's why the prophet left a trust for us, but he was showing us how to deal in trust, right? So people keep trying to get under his trust instead of creating their own and for their own family, right? So again, like you just, all I'm saying is, man, you bringing all the pieces of the puzzle together for me, like all of my little missing parts. Like I can see my puzzle coming together, like the big picture now. So I'm just humble, man. I'm
Exactly.
telling you, man. You are the greatest. I'm telling you, girl. Look, you the real empress. The empress is over the empire. You know what I mean? Like you bring the empire back, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Namir. Thank you so, so, so much.
Yes.
All right. You got any other questions? I'm gonna move on to the next person.
No, and I found my email, so. But I think a few of the documents, like
okay, Jen said, yep, the Empress is, well, all the queens. Thank you, Jen. All right, so next we're gonna go to Shara. Shara Kelly. Is it Shara? I hope I said it right.
Yes, it's Shara Kelly. Hi, Christine.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. So my question is, so once the trust is established and you start, of course, inquiring and adding properties and adding assets to the trust, are you going to, so once those things are added to the trust, after the trust is established, are you going to submit those updates to the bank?
Oh, no, you don't have to.
Okay.
No, everything is your internal records and everything is private. So there's no reason that you have to update the bank to let them know that you just bought, 10 houses or an apartment building or 2 cars.
And what I mean by that, because I know when you said that once the trust is established, that you're going to take those documents to be able to open up your accounts. And
right.
So when you open up your accounts, certain properties are not going to be listed on that trust. So that's why I'm inquiring, like, okay,
so it's not designed for anybody to know what assets are inside of the trust. That's none of the bank's business. So all the bank needs to know is that you have an irrevocable trust, you're the trustee, and they need to open up a trust fund for you.
Okay. And then also my next question is, so yesterday I was not able to attend the workshop. I know you mentioned that that yesterday's session was recorded. Will all these recordings be sent to us to be able to go back to, or how does that work?
So you should have access if you're done with the workshop, you should have access to the recordings. They are inside of the course, right? So you know how you log into the course and then you see where it says, a wealthy trustee program, there should be a second like course where it says workshop recordings or workshop training recordings. If you don't have that, then let me know, because that means that you're not done with you, and then we can just send you the Zoom link recording.
Okay. And my last question is in regards to the TCUs. So the TCUs can be any family members and beneficiaries, long as it's not past the second cousins. I know when you were going over that section, do we have to list parents, or it has to be family members?
Okay, so I'm hearing two different questions here. So the first thing is the beneficiaries can be whoever you want them to be, right? So
Okay.
if your beneficiaries are not your children, if it's your best friend or your cousin or whoever, that's fine. But what you're talking about is the provision that's talking about the inheritance of the TCUs.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can restrict who gets to inherit the TCUs. So let's just say that today you put your best friend, right? Like you don't have, let's just say, oh, I don't have any kids, so I'm just going to list my best friend. If anything happens to me, she gets it all, right? Well, now if you put on there that she's the TCU holder, unfortunately, her children, if they're not a direct descendant of whoever you list as the ancestors, so in the part about the inheritance, if you list your parents as the ancestors, but the TCU holders, inheritors are not related to those ancestors, and they are not eligible to receive or inherit TCUs. So then it would need to be approved by the trustee. So these are what we call checks and balances, just to make sure that the TCUs do not end up in the wrong hands. The
Okay.
last thing you want is someone down the line to be benefiting from your hard-earned work, from your legacy that actually doesn't belong inside of your estate.
Okay. Okay. And so
So
I
you
have
had asked me, does it need to be your parents? So are you asking, do the ancestors that you list for that section, do they need to be your parents? No. You could put your name, you could put anybody's name, but just know whoever's name you put, everyone who is going to be eligible to inherit the TCUs has to be related to that person.
Okay. Okay. I got it. I got it. And so lastly, to add to that question. So for example, I have two sons under the age of 10. And so would I list a TU? I think it would be more of a successor. So I would list a successor. If anything happens to me, I would list a successor or a protector to be able to make sure those funds go to them if anything was to happen to me as the trustee.
So hold on, I'm trying to like gather the question here. Your children are the beneficiaries, right? You can
Right.
leave them as the beneficiaries because we have a provision inside of the trust that says if the TCU holder is a minor and there's money that needs to go to them, it's going to go to whoever is their natural guardian or whoever is their legal guardian. So you don't have to send the money to the protector or to the successor. So if anything happens to you, who is going to be taking care of your children? That individual is going to receive the distribution for your children to take care of your children.
Got it. Okay. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Christina.
Okay, I'm here. Thank you for asking those good questions. So next we have Jen Burnett. Jen, are you here? Jen? All right, I'm gonna have to come back to Jen. All right, we're gonna go with Miss Annalia Bay. Hey, Miss Annalia Bay.
Hey, sweetie, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm
Oh my
just
God.
over here.
Oh my God,
I'm
that's my color. You know that's my color.
oh, lime. I like lime. Yeah.
Yes, that's my
Thank
color.
you.
I'm getting excited over here. Oh my God, yeah, excited. Yeah.
Hot girl over here. No,
Right, hot girls. Okay.
I was trying to I'm on here struggling with Google and Microsoft and with my email and trying to get but it's a lot of problems. Um, but I wanted to ask you, since my trust is done and it's just in the process of being sent back to me. The next step
Congratulations.
is, I know it's been a long time coming. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. I'm happy about
they got
that.
to
So
execute it trust, you guys.
yeah, so I'm just waiting for it to get here so I can bring it to the bank. I'm still all over the place about the banks. You know
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask you. Okay, I know you bring the certificate of trust
Yes.
and you bring the EIN from the EIN we created, right?
Yep.
We bring that also to the bank.
Yeah.
And
So
is
you can bring the EIN confirmation letter, or if the EIN is on your certificate of trust, then you should be good. But if not, just bring both.
but okay, is there anything else that I need to bring? Is
Yeah.
just maybe the $100 or the gold or silver or what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. So bring whatever money you're going to deposit inside, and then bring proof of identity, because you have to disclose yourself as a trustee, and all the time, they usually ask for proof of identity for the trustee.
Okay, now is it how many coins do you give them the actual coin or do you make a copy and give it to them of the coin?
No. Oh, so if you're going to well, it depends on you, whatever you want to deposit. So me per se, right? So I know that you funded if you funded your trust with precious metal, you don't have to give the bank the precious metal, right?
Okay.
So what we've documented is that the grantor handed you the precious metal, you then took it and did, administered whatever you did, right? So you could have put it under the mattress. You could have put it in a safety deposit box. You could have, put it into a safe in your home, right? So
Right.
that is already documented, that now that asset is inside of the trust and the trust is funded. So that's separate from you opening up a bank account and depositing the minimum cash that's required to open up that bank account at that bank. So,
Okay.
for example, I opened up my trust account with Truist. Their minimum was $100. I handed them $100. That was it.
Mhm. Okay. So you like you said, you don't hand them the actual silver. You just document it on an affidavit and bring that to them or as a deposit instead of the $100
Yeah,
cash
so
or
So it's already documented on your Schedule A, that
okay.
it's already documented on your Schedule A and even on your Schedule B that you have that precious metal inside of the trust.
Okay.
So that's an asset. That asset does not have to go to the bank. For example,
Okay.
if you decided to fund your trust with a property, you're not going to take that property to the bank.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
you opening up a bank account is separate from whatever asset that you chose as the consideration for the trust contract.
Okay.
So when it comes so when it comes to you funding the actual trust, it's just if you want, you can use, you pretty much have to follow the policies and procedures of the actual bank, right?
Mhm.
So whatever their requirements are. So every single bank is different. So if you're going to go open up that trust fund and they tell you, hey, we only accept US dollars, you have to give them the US dollars, whatever it is.
Right.
That's the minimum. So
Okay.
so I don't want you to mix up assets that you're putting inside of the bank with cash that you're depositing into a trust fund.
Okay. It's totally different. It's basically considered an asset on a Schedule A.
Correct.
The precious metals.
Yep.
Okay, and the conveyance, the vehicle, you send that to the Department of Motor, you bring that to the Department of Motor Vehicles so that they can do a title transfer to the trust?
Yep. So as long as you have the title for the vehicle, then you're going to fill out the bill of sale, and then you're going to submit it respective to your state. So I know you're in Texas. So so Texas, I don't know if they're DMV or if they're tax collectors, but you'll submit it. So whatever the form says, so we could take a look at it. But the instructions are on the bill of sale, so you're going to go ahead and submit it to, let's just say it's the DMV. And then they're going to go ahead and do the transfer. So as long as you have the title, if you don't have the title to the vehicle, then you cannot transfer the ownership. So as long as you have the title, then you can retitle it into the name of the trust.
I have an allodial title. It was signed notarized by the Secretary of State, so they accepted it. So I'm assuming that's good enough, correct?
Yep.
It's not the title. It's not the title that you see from the car dealerships when you finish making a payment, because I did a rescission on them, so they stopped harassing me about payment. Right, they stopped collecting. So therefore, I sent them an allodial title also, and so I have it also documented with the Secretary of State. So I figure that's just as good as anything since I'm doing business in Texas.
Yeah,
Correct.
that is. Yep, that is.
Okay, well, that's kind of what I wanted to know. Once I get the account, they give you checks, debit card. Do you request this, or do they automatically know that this has to be done once you open a trust?
So they automatically give you the debit card, and then the checks you do have to request them.
Okay, and let's see, one other thing. How do you say, for instance, you wanted to acquire property, and once they give you that debit card or whatever, is there a certain way that you write checks once you have a trust account open, to be able to buy or purchase that property or whatever you're purchasing? I mean, some people do the EMT or EFT transfer, but is there a particular way for people who are trustees to operate once they get this information? Because I know it's different from and a personal account, correct? You have to treat it differently.
Yes. I mean, yeah, so two things. So your trust fund is different from a personal account or from a business account. But it still works the same way, to where you can have Zelle on your trust fund account. You can do wire transfers. You can do the ACH, the EFTs. You can write checks. So all of those different ways of, exchanging the currency is the same. So when it comes to funding the property, going to the title company and things like that, you could do a wire transfer. That's fine. So you'll just, set it up from your trust fund to be wired to the title company. It depends on whoever the title company is, because some of them, they don't accept like personal checks. They probably will accept a cashier's check. So it really depends on that particular transaction. But usually those other forms of payment, like the wire transfer, ACH, things like that, those work. As far as like, signing on behalf of the trust, you're going to sign your signature, and then you'll put as trustee, or some people put as, TTEE of and then the name of the trust when you're doing the purchase.
Okay. Sounds like a whole new ball game I'm about to enter here. I'm very fascinated, and I'm very curious, and I can't wait to try this out and actually open the trust account. I feel like I've accomplished a lot. Now figure out how to maneuver through it, as far as, especially with the ministry trust, because I need to know how to set that up, as far as, like websites and all that stuff, type of thing, to put whatever I'm interested in on the website. So that's another thing. Is there any other avenues that I should be aware of when doing a ministry trust or setting it up, or trying to do fundraisers, or uh, letting people know exactly what the ministry trust entails? Even though I am a minister, I won't be I won't be preaching or anything like that, but I would like to be able to have information going out to the type of people that I plan to serve.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
So
That is
yeah,
ministering.
yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So you have to, come up with those things, independently for your ministry. But I
Right.
do have like a list of websites that you can sign up for that gives grants to nonprofits. So I can send that over to you, Miss Bay, and then you can
That
just
would
use
be
that as
that
a
would
stepping stone for,
Who is
for
it?
when you're ready to go for funding.
Christina, can you send that to everyone too?
Okay,
Because I
thank
would
you.
be interested in that as well.
Okay, absolutely. I'll have the team do it. All right.
Everybody.
Okay. All right. Next we have Jen. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Christina. Yeah, I was unmuting myself.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Early.
happened, but I figured you was busy.
No, I
Hey.
was here trying to find the unmute button. I found it.
Oh yeah, that happened to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have two questions because I was enlightened by the TCUs, but I'll start with the first one regarding the IRA. So I have that set up. What I learned with the advisor at Fidelity is that I can just automatically, which I knew, add my daughters as the beneficiary of the IRA that I just opened. So he said,
Mhm.
is there any reason why you feel that you need to set up a trust account now that you've established the IRA? And I says,
Mhm.
well, that's what I was advised from another representative, because my ultimate goal is to take the IRA and add it to the irrevocable trust. And he says,
Mhm.
well, and to have my daughters be the beneficiary. He says, well, you really don't have to add it to the trust. You can just add your daughters to as beneficiaries of the IRA. So I
Mhm.
did that. So now my question to you is there any better reason that I need to take that IRA and add it into the trust for the sole purpose of having my daughters as beneficiaries? Because it seems like I was just easily able to do it by just adding them as beneficiaries to that
Yeah,
IRA.
absolutely. Okay. So two things, right?
Let
The
me
first
let her know I'm signing out. Miss, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just got my physical therapist here. I'm just want to let you know I'm about to leave the call.
Okay, thank you, Miss Bay. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.
Okay,
Enjoy your
thank
physical
you.
therapy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So Jen, two things, right? So, the first thing is, if the beneficiaries are, your daughters, right? And if one of your daughters decides to contest the, the issuance, I don't know how to say it, but like them issuing the actual assets inside of the IRA to them, then it's going to end up in probate. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that they are going to have to pay taxes. And so if you have the trust as the beneficiary, then it actually avoids the inheritance tax.
Got it. Got it. Love that. Okay. Then there we go. That's the reason why I still need to move forward with having the IRA added to the trust.
Yeah, you have to also be mindful all the
Mhm.
time, 100% of the time, that the people that you're talking to are not trustees. They're not walking in the
Mhm.
same path you're walking in.
And he admitted to that, and I said to him, it doesn't hurt for me to add them as beneficiaries. I said, but I will find out if it's more beneficial for them and for me to just put it into the trust.
Yeah, and it's up to you. It's a strategy that it's up to you what you want to do as a parent. I know other
Right.
people that actually do both, right? I personally don't do it like this. I
Mhm.
personally don't advise it, but I know other trustees in our program that they'll actually have both. They'll have their children listed as the beneficiary on that brokerage account, and they'll
Mhm.
have the trust listed because with the trust, if they're not the trustee, they're the beneficiary, they feel like, oh, my children don't have access to the money, so only the trustee has access to the money once it's going to be dispersed to the trust. So they'll do both. But personally, like I said, sometimes people change and they decide to contest, and then if that happens, then boom, you're in a probate situation instantaneously.
Mhm. Um, but it seems like I really don't need to do both. But I like that advice. I know some people do both, but in the end, I don't really need to do both, right? As long
Correct.
as I add the IRA to the trust.
Correct. You don't have to do both. So you're
Yeah.
so I mean, so like it just depends on how you structure your family trust, right? But if your family trust is the beneficiary of that investment account or retirement
Mhm.
account, and then your children are the successor, a successor trustee, or vice versa, they're in good hands. Like
They're
they're
in
going to
good hands.
control it in they're going to
Yeah.
control it anyway. Your goal is to have the assets be owned by the entity, and have the beneficiary be the entity as well. You don't want to put your children in a situation where they're now going to have these assets in their personal name. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, it's up to you.
Okay. No, I want to do what's best and definitely don't want them subject to government taxes because we know what their goal is to just take whatever they can. And so I'm trying to
Yeah.
avoid that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they
Yeah.
charge you when you die. So they're going to charge a death tax and inheritance
Right.
tax. So,
Right. And that's what I'm
yeah.
trying to avoid for them. And the other thing was the TCUs. I have a different understanding now. I thought TCUs were actual certificate documents. Are they not documents? And I didn't know that 33 or whatever you're dividing them up. I didn't know that that was the percentage of a dollar amount. I thought they were a percentage of the actual certificates that you may need to show as proof to access funds. So maybe if you can explain that, you were talking with Samir about it. And I was like, oh, so if it's
So,
25
so
TCUs, it's 25,000. I didn't relate that
no,
to a dollar amount.
no, he was talking about a dollar amount. So it is a percentage. So your trust has 100 TCUs.
Right.
100 TCUs is 100% of beneficial interest.
Okay.
Beneficial interest is almost equivalent to ownership interest. the when we're talking about ownership interest or beneficial interest, we're talking about the assets that are inside of the trust. We're not talking about anything else. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dollar amount.
Mm.
It can represent the value of the assets.
So it can represent the value of the assets. Okay.
Yes. So if and we use 100 just because it's very simple.
Yeah.
So for example, let's just say that your trust has $10 in it, but it has a house and the house is worth $500,000, right? And then you have two beneficiaries or two daughters, and they both have 50 TCUs each. They both have 50% beneficial interest. So that means that from those two assets that you have inside of that trust, that means that one of your daughters owns, not owns, but has beneficial interest in half of that $10, which is $5, and
Yep,
half of that house, and
of
half of that house.
500,000. Mm-hmm. Got you.
That's what
So 500, it's just split down the middle. The total
yeah.
is 500, like
No,
the
but
total is 510,
yes.
and then it's half of that.
Right. So if it's 50-50,
Gotcha.
in your case, if it's 50-50, if it's
Mm-hmm.
50 TCU per beneficiary, you have two beneficiaries.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Everyone's situation is different. So I'm just giving you an example based on yours.
Gotcha. And mine is different, but for simplicity, we were just taking 50-50.
Correct.
Right. And then so are the certificates, is that a paper document when you say certificate TCU?
So yeah, so it can be. So you can actually, if the beneficiaries want for you to issue them an actual certificate, you can.
Ah, okay, because that's what I thought they were. I thought they were actual paper documents that says certificate.
Yes, they can be. They can be. So you're documenting them on the Schedule A, but then if the actual beneficiary wants to receive that physical documentation, they can. And you can do like a regular certificate. So like, you know how you have those regular certificates like in school, well, you would
Yeah.
have one of those, and then you would put you would put the trust certificate units, the name of the trust, and the name of the beneficiary.
So you're saying I could take a template, which I've done for like students, and are you saying that I could take that template and create a certificate for them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Okay, because that was my
I'm
next
not.
question.
Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it. I have certificates, but I don't have them with me. I can't show you right now. But yeah, you can. Yeah, it's like a regular certificate, just like how you have, so it's the same thing as if you have stock certificates, right? So you have stock certificates, right, Jen?
Yes.
Jen. Okay, do you have a physical certificate, or do you have documentation showing that you have this amount of stocks in this organization or company?
Okay, yes. So what I have is confirmation of, yeah, and that's the point you're getting to. I literally don't have the certificates on me, but I can easily go online and pull it up and log into the account, and I can see confirmation of the values and how many. So, okay, I get that. Well, thank you so
No,
much.
it's both ways. It's both ways. So absolutely, Jen, you're so welcome.
Okay. And if they wanted that, is that something that they can have like as early as next week? If I wanted them to have a copy of it.
Yeah, it's up to you. You're the trustee, so you give it to them whenever you want.
Oh,
You
cool.
you run the show. This is your organization. You're operating it.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, Christina. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jen. All right. Next we have Terrence.
Hey, I'm back. Okay, I had a couple questions I forgot to ask. So if someone, excuse me, if someone were to gift a real estate asset to the trust that has a mortgage payment on it, at the point that's added to the trust, does that mortgage become the financial responsibility of the trust, or is it still in the
Correct.
name of the original person?
It's the financial responsibility of the trust. The mortgage is going to remain intact and it's going to remain on that individual's credit, but it's the financial responsibility of the trust.
Got it. So in turn, if I pay that off, then that was a trust expense.
Absolutely, 1000%.
Perfect. Okay. And then this is a simple question. As far as making amendments to the trust, is this as simple as writing it in and initialing it, or is this a more involved process where I have to get it re-notarized or
Yeah,
anything like that?
yeah, so you're just going to You're going to you're going to document the amendment or the change or whatever you're modifying. You document it and then you sign and notarize. It's
Got
just
it.
that.
Okay,
Yeah. So
cool.
whatever
And
it
then
is, it could be 2 lines, whatever the change is.
cool. Okay, and then my last question. I know you talked about, if the trust was dissolved, where you put who gets what and all of that. If I were to make provisions in this trust that say something, for example, when my daughter graduates high school, the trust will pay college. Is that something that you would put or document, or is that just a move that the trustee would make?
So too, it can be discretionary, or you're gonna put those provisions under the beneficiary section. So under the beneficiary section, um, where you have all of the spendthrift provisions, you can have a
Mhm.
provision in there that the trust is required to pay college tuition for the beneficiaries.
Perfect. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. All right. Hi, Connie. How are you?
I'm doing well, Christina. Thank you. I have a question. You said, I remember you saying if we're doing if we have multiple properties, don't put them all in the same trust, use multiple trusts. Is that true? Is
Yeah,
that your,
yeah, I mean, listen, it depends on what you want to do. I always tell people don't put all your eggs in one basket. It doesn't make sense. So best practice is to put one property per trust. Are people going to do that? Not necessarily. Some people put 2 and 3 properties per trust. So it depends on you. It also depends on the usage of the actual property. So if you are having a property that you're renting out for rental income or commercial use, then you're going to put it in the business trust. And if you have your primary residence where you and your family live, you're going to put it in the family trust.
I
But
see.
just when I say don't put all your eggs in one basket, just know that I mean that you don't want to put all your assets in one trust, because what if that trust gets sued and literally all your assets are in there?
Okay, okay. Can the grantor of your business trust also be the same grantor as the other trust? I think you did answer that
Correct.
during.
Yep, you are absolutely correct, because they are separate entities. And so it doesn't matter if they're the grantor of one trust or all 10 of your trusts, it's separate entities. So they can be the grantor of every single trust that you've ever created.
Okay, and then my final question is, um, if you get a new car or property or any other asset, do you need to add that to the particular trust that you're putting it in? Say
If
I'm
it's a
gonna
trust,
say I'm gonna buy a car next week, and
okay.
do I need to add that to the in Schedule D? Do I need to add that in there?
So if you're going to buy a car next week and that car is going to be in the name of the trust, it is a trust asset and you do need to add it into the trust. So you'll add it into the Schedule B where you're listing the assets, and then you'll add it into the Schedule D where you're disclosing how you want the asset to be disposed. So if it's a trust asset, if you're buying that car next week and if it's in your personal name, then no.
Okay. Okay, so it would be best to put it in the trust name and not my name.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, Connie. All right, next we have, let's see here. Oh, we have Annalisa. Hey, Annalisa.
Hey, Christina, I have wanted to just ask a question about, we're setting up 3
You're
separate
breaking up. I
trusts, right?
can't hear. I
Oh,
can't hear
sorry.
you. I cannot hear you. I'm so sorry.
Sorry. We're setting up 3
You're breaking
separate.
up really bad.
Oh, hello. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So if we're setting up 3 separate trusts, and we set up 3 separate trusts in 3 different bank accounts?
Oh, yes, 3 different bank accounts. Absolutely. These are separate entities. So two trusts is not going to operate with one bank account.
Okay.
So every entity is going to have its own account.
Okay. And then you also were talking to another person.
It doesn't have to be, it doesn't.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say it doesn't have to be at 3 separate banks. So it could be at the same bank, but you have three separate accounts, 3 separate account numbers, all that stuff, funding, all that stuff. No commingling. We're not, doing business trust stuff and depositing it into family trust accounts, stuff like that.
Okay. And my last question is, let's say if I have a whole life insurance account and instead of putting my children as the beneficiary for that, I put it as a trust. Does the government still tax the trust for payout? Just as it would tax?
So it depends on the actual amounts. So generally with the life insurance, with the death benefits, they usually don't tax it. And for inheritance tax, there's a threshold of like 12 million. So if it's anything over that, then they will tax it.
Okay. And this is only for the trust? Well, this is just in general?
In general.
Okay. That's good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. We have Namir. Hey, Namir.
Peace, peace, peace. So I got another question about them TCUs again. So is it reversed? How do you find out what the percentage is? Because I know on it has a number.
Yeah, so it's inside of the actual trust. The number is
No, we pulled this from the probate. So I don't think it had all that. It only had
okay.
So it's more like a will.
I don't know.
So it looked like they left something to all my brothers, me and my brothers, but my mama saying we can't touch it. So it's just we got a number beside our name. It don't make sense. So I'm trying to kind of make sense out of it.
You do have a number beside your name?
Yeah. Everybody got the same. It's 4 of us and all us got the same. I think like 25,000 or something.
Right. So you have to just go through the documents, who have the documents, because listen, whenever you have a question, whenever you have a discrepancy, whenever you need to resolve something, you always have to go to the documents. So you got to fish
That's what
through
the copies are for.
Gotcha. Yes. You have to go through
But we don't have. I don't think we have access to those documents. We only have access to the will. I think it is. I don't think he had it. I don't think they had a trust. It's just a will. A will is not a trust, though, right? A will is not a trust.
Right. Yeah, it's not. I know. It definitely is a probate situation. So there's an estate that was created. So you need to get the documentation from the estate. So you have the will, but the state created an estate, right? So your mother is the executor to that estate. There's documentation with that estate that you don't have access to. If you want to know, whatever your interest is, you have to get access to those documents for that estate.
So I might as well just cancel that. I might as well just forget about that and just open up, do my own thing. I think Mama is not coming up off of that. Mama act like the ladies on. Remember Dallas? Remember all the stories? That's all they was talking about is this trust stuff that's going on now and back in the day, right? That's why this person was knocking off that person to get this in line, and it was just a bunch of mess. Like I don't know. So you got my mind racing over here.
I'm sorry, but go digging for
don't be
it.
sorry. That's good. Racing is good.
That's why people need to have their affairs in order, because then your kids are losing their inheritance because you don't have everything in order. So now whoever had the will, they putting y'all livelihood in jeopardy. It's not right. So that's why you breaking those generational curses, all right, Namir?
No doubt. And look, You can't be sorry either, girl. That is a board game.
Oh, right. That is so true. You know what? I know. I need to be unapologetic. Don't play with me.
Come on, there you go. You always using them big words
Right.
anyway.
That part. That part. That part.
Yes, peace and love.
Okay, so we got two more people, and then we're gonna wrap it up, you guys. It is 2:13. That is my number. So with that being said, we got iPhone. I'm not sure who iPhone is. I can't remember from yesterday who iPhone is. So we got iPhone, and then we have Z. So let's take iPhone first. iPhone?
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
iPhone, how you doing, sis? iPhone is Ruby.
Oh, Ruby. Okay. All right, Ruby.
How you doing today?
I'm
I just
wonderful, thrilled.
awesome. Glad to be here. Listen, I had one question. If I wanted to do, say I'm living in Illinois and I wanted to have my trust in Wyoming, is that a good idea or no?
Yeah, you can. You can have your trust. You can choose any, because it's a domestic trust, you can choose any state or territory to put it
Yes.
in.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be where you live.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Next we have Z.
Okay. Uh, excuse me. You were stating that for a business trust, let's say my grandkids, they do something, let's say YouTube, and you do a business, wouldn't that be public? Because business trusts are public, right?
So business trusts are private, you just make it public, right? So when you say so with the business trust, right? If you want to actually run a business with it, you can, right? So you're going to create a business trust and run a business. So what I was telling you is that like my children, right? They have a YouTube channel. Okay? And YouTube or Google gives them, they generate income, right? And so I have a business for them. So I created a business trust for them so that they could be able to collect the payments from Google. Okay, so they're actually running a business. It's not an LLC or a corporation, it's a business trust. So the name of their YouTube channel is actually the name of the business trust. It's not
Okay.
registered anywhere. It's not registered anywhere, so it's not a part of the public records, and no one knows that this trust exists. So the only people, I mean, the only organization that is aware of the entity is the organization that's paying them.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I
So
thought
it's not,
you
huh?
mentioned something about the benefit, letting that be the beneficiary of the like if the business trust get dissolved or something like that, it will go to the children, right? Like, I mean, it will go to the YouTube channel that was listed as the beneficiary, right?
Yeah, so it would go to that entity, and whoever the trustee is will then be able to manage, those funds or that asset.
Okay.
So, I mean, the YouTube channel is just an example of a form of income for the entity.
Yes. Okay, I got it. And then I wanted to know, when will you make your way to California? Because there's a lot of us out here, you
Oh,
know,
no.
towards the Bay Area, something. I mean, I'm actually in Sacramento, but Frisco and stuff is like down the street. So when will you make your way out this way?
I know you are so right. You put me on the spot right now, Z. You know, I used to live in California. I used to live in the Bay Area. I lived actually in San Jose,
Oh,
and I lived in San Jose, and I worked in Stockton.
oh,
I also worked in San Quentin in Marion County.
okay.
Um, and I worked in San Jose, but I haven't been to California since February. February 28th. So, yes, I need to make my way back. I'll probably be there in a month. I'm just like needing to plan and schedule, but I'm definitely gonna go there this summer. So I just don't know when. It could be July, it could be August. So I'm gonna put a schedule together and I'm gonna let you guys know because I want all of us to be able to, to have these little meet and greets. So some of you guys I've met in person, right? Some of you guys came to Atlanta. Um, and I had the privilege of meeting you guys in person. Some of you guys was supposed to meet me in Dallas, but we didn't get a chance to do that. Um, I had the intentions on going to Houston, and I was actually supposed to go to Houston last weekend, but that event was rescheduled for July 27th. So I have to put a plan together so that I know. And you guys should have received a survey so that you can tell me what state and city you're in so that it's easier for me because there's 500 of you guys. And so whoever is in Texas, we can do like a meet and greet. Whoever's in Georgia, we can do like a whole meet and greet because it's amazing when a bunch of us trustees come together and we're masterminding. It's phenomenal. So those of you guys who came to the mastermind in January, you guys already know like how lit it is. So with that being said, if you guys get the survey, please fill it out so you can let us know when is your birthday, because I want to know when your birthday is. I might drop a little gift. And then I also want to know your city and state so that I can start to organize this, or my team at least. They're going to start to organize it for me. So you guys,
What about birthday just passed? Still
what?
sending gifts?
Right. Happy belated birthday.
I take belated gifts too now.
Look at him, ready to collect.
I just have one more question.
Hey, I'm a
You
trustee, baby.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm waiting for you guys to turn me into a beneficiary. What's up? So anyways, to end off Z's question, Z, I am going to be coming up with a schedule real soon. So just give me a little bit of time to figure this thing out, okay?
Okay,
okay?
keep me posted because I'm in the West Coast territory, so I would love to come to Cali.
Oh, wait,
That's
where are you, Jen?
that's
Where are you, Jen?
well, I'm in New Jersey, but for work, the West Coast is my territory, so every now and then I have to get out to California.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's great. I promise I will. I
Okay,
promise.
cool.
I just
Okay.
have one more question. All right, so that's out the way as far as you coming to the West Coast, which would be perfect.
Mhm.
Now I just forgot my question because like three different people said something when I was so just never mind. Never mind.
She said never.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. Okay. Well, any other last questions? Because you guys, it is 2:22, 2:22, okay? So it is time for me to go. I'm about to do the moonwalk out of here. So with that being said, I do want to give you guys your homework. So this is a wrap for day 2 of our Wealthy Trustee workshop. Tomorrow is day 3. Tomorrow, you are going to receive an email with the resources and tools that you need in order for us to set up your ministry trust. All right. So tomorrow, you're going to receive that email 1 hour before the actual workshop begins. It begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So be mindful of your time zone. And we're going to be going over the ministry trust, and then I'm going to show you guys how to become ordained ministers and how to do the EIN application process for your tax exempt organization, okay? So that is the plan for tomorrow. So today, yesterday, your homework was to get inside of the Facebook group and the Telegram group. So I hope that you guys had the opportunity to introduce yourself. I'm going to go jump into Facebook right now so that I can make sure. And what I want you guys to do now is post inside of the Facebook group and let us know why you decided to become a trustee, right? It is not an easy journey of stewardship to be a trustee. So let us know why you decided to get into the program and to actually be a trustee. So go ahead and post inside of Facebook so that you guys are able to engage and become familiar with one another. So the recording is going to be available for you guys in the next hour once it's rendered with the whole iCloud Zoom thing. And you guys can go ahead and rewatch the recording. If you don't have access to the part of the course that says workshop recordings, then send a request to support@7waystowealth.com so that we are able to provide you with the Zoom link recording, okay? And the last thing that I wanted to say was, hold on, I saw something in the chat. Yeah, so the last thing is, if you're not inside of the Telegram chat, then go ahead and get inside of the Telegram chat. We've been chatting all day today. So I think out of the 500 of you guys, there's only, let's see how many people are in the Telegram. Only 108 people. I don't know, guys. We've been chatting inside of there. Let me see who. Brandon put something in there. Sonia, Atika put something in there. Let's see. Anna C. So Terrence. All right. So there's a couple of us inside of the Telegram chat. So get inside of Telegram, you guys, so that we could be chatting. And you guys can get your questions answered faster than you would, any other kind of way. So with that being said,
Okay.
God bless you guys. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And I'm going to see you guys here tomorrow at the same time, okay? 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, this place and space.
Is the Telegram name 7 Ways to Wealth?
No, it's Wealthy Trustee Community. I'll text it to you, Jen.
Wealthy Trustee. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Welcome.